John, that looked pretty brutal and like a finals-like intensity. Must be satisfying to come away with the 4 points.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a solid game in those conditions. You expect that, and you know, the contested possessions and the tackles were right up there from both teams. So you know, I thought our intensity over the 4 quarters was pretty good, and we missed a few shots in the second quarter that would have put us a bit further ahead, but they challenged us in the third quarter. We stood that, and then we went on again the last. So it was really pleasing to come over here and play a team that's been in pretty good form.
Considering you lose Zach Jones early, you've got Kurt Tippett early withdrawal as well. It's a pretty great effort considering you lose that those sort of players.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we were pleased. You know, we've still got Shaw and Henry out of the team, and to come over here, and Jonesy went out early and could have upset our balance a bit, but we've got some players there, whether it's McVeigh and Cunningham and a few others, that are pretty flexible and went back. It's really good to come to a place like here in Perth and play a good team that's got some really good players in it, and still have 7 players, 40 games or less, and experience that. And you know, I'm really pleased that those younger players in particular, our leaders were good, but I'm really pleased in our younger players to be able to experience that.
Jones, how much does it throw the balance out, losing a player as early as that?
Oh, it does, but it happens to teams all the time. Obviously, you prefer not to do it. He's been going okay for us, Jonesy, for a player that's only played a couple of games in our defence. He's done a really good job since Shaw's been out. It just meant that we had to shuffle a bit, but that's the good thing about Harry Cunningham and Jerry McVeigh and those blokes. You need to be really flexible now. Your players need to be able to, inside the stoppages, outside the stoppages, go forward, go back. Flexibility is a real key in AFL footy, and you need to make sure that you're adaptable wherever you go and be prepared to overcome some of those hurdles on the road.
What about Tippett? Did you just talk us through him? Did he come over expecting him to play and then fell short of training?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was fine during the game last week. He was fine all week, and he trained here on Friday, and we expected him to be fine, but was a bit sore during training and then pulled up a little bit sore afterwards. So obviously we would have preferred him to play, but he wasn't moving that well and was a bit sore afterwards, so we decided to make a change.
John, the Lance Franklin, Eric McKenzie one was an interesting duel. It was a bit like WrestleMania at times. What was your view on the contest?
Well, I'd have to go back and have a look at the free kicks. Either way, I'd have to go back and put some time into that and have a real close look at it and see which way it should have gone.
Does that sound like that you think that perhaps...
I don't know. I don't know.
Do you have any update on Jones's condition?
He just had a bit of blurred vision. He was okay immediately afterwards, and then just sort of came on a little bit later, a little bit delayed. He was okay initially, and then he had a bit of blurred vision, and we initially did the concussion rule, I guess, as far as being able to sub him off and then have a check of him, and the blurred vision didn't get better. So it was mainly the blurred vision, so he's okay now.
Did he go to hospital or anything?
No.
Can he fly with you?
Yeah, no, he's fine. Yeah, no, he's fine now.
John, you're on top of the ladder. How does that feel?
Oh, we don't spend much time looking at it, or any time looking at it, to be honest. I mean, we concentrate on our preparation and our performance every week, and just said to the players it was a fantastic effort to come over here. It's not an easy venue to win at, and to come over here and play that way we were happy with in those tough conditions. But our preparation starts right now for Carlton this week, and we focus on our preparation, our performance every week, and that's what we'll continue to do.
Eagles got to within 6 points there as well in the third quarter, but it really was that players like McLean and Parker really led the way. McLean in particular with getting that goal to sort of stop their momentum as well.
Yeah, it was. We thought we could have been a bit more up at half time with a couple of those shots that missed. I think it was 2 goals 8 in the second quarter, but they got their run on and they came out pretty fierce in that third quarter, and there was a bit of play there that went on in their forward line that we withstood that. I was really pleased with some of the players' efforts to withstand the momentum at the opposition times. You need to win the 50-50 balls, and you need to win the contests that matter at those particular points. And a few of those blokes, in particular the ones you mentioned, were able to do that and repel the momentum.
You lost a few games early in the season in wet, slippery conditions. Did you do anything different in your set-up and preparation?
No, we just weren't playing that well early in the season. So, I mean, we were confident going into today that our form's a fair bit different than what it was at the start of the year, and you know, we weren't concerned with the conditions. We thought we handled the conditions pretty well.
Just to
follow up the latter question. You've hit the top for the first time this season. A couple of the others have slipped up, the contenders this weekend. Have you sent a bit of a message with your consistency, do you think?
Well, it's not so much. It's not about sending messages. It's about worrying about what we can control and worrying about what we do every week. We can't control what happens in the other games or what other teams do, but what we can do is make sure that we prepare and play with real a competitive spirit every week, and to do that to the best of our ability every week. And that's what we continue to do, and that's what we need to do if we're going to keep winning.
Coming across a day early, John, seems to be a good formula for you. You must be pretty happy with that. Are you surprised other clubs don't fly across a bit early?
Once again, I don't know what other clubs do, but I know what seems to work okay for us. We've been doing a similar routine for quite a while now, and we quite enjoy the fact that come over and spend a few days here, have a good training session here, and we get off the plane and spend some time together. And whilst we travel regularly, obviously being a club outside of Melbourne, it's always good to come over and spend a few days here, and our players seem to look forward to that aspect of it. And importantly, they're able to switch on when they need to and switch off, which when you're over here for a few days you need to do, and the ability to be able to switch on at the critical times, whether that's in team meetings or training or most importantly the game, is really driven by our leaders, which is pleasing.
John, in terms of switching on as well, a couple of weeks ago you played against Richmond. You said yourself that you had a very sort of down intensity game that game. Was that sort of like a wake-up call to sort of remind the players that they need to switch on at every single one, and you've sort of picked up the intensity since then?
It's just you learn every game, and whether you win or lose or draw, you learn every game. And there was a lot of stuff we learned out of that game, particularly early in the game, that we can get better at. But there was a lot of stuff we did well, and particularly I was pleased with the aspect that we just ground the win out. And we weren't playing that well in that game, but we found a way. And sometimes you just got to find a way. And so there was things we didn't do that well in that game, but there was a lot of stuff that I was happy with, the ability to be able to just find a way. And all of our players learnt from that as well.
And just as a full forward yourself there too, like I know you would have preferred to see Bud get a few more frees, but as a forward, does it sort of warm your heart to see that sort of return of a full back versus full forward Bud?
Might leave that one for the time being.
John, 2 goals only in the second quarter, you touched on it before. Do you spend much time this week looking at goal kicking 10 goals 19, or do you just say we've got 29 scoring shots? And
there was a few rushed, and there was a couple that skidded the wrong side of the post. So, that's what I think in the second quarter we were really pleased that we were attacking the goal squares. A few skidded through the wrong side of the post. A few we could have kicked to the goal square that we kicked to the one side, trying to hit the lead up in those conditions, which is probably not the preferred option. So, we keep practising it anyway. So we spend a lot of time on it.
John, you've got some very good midfielders that are all Australian level now. Parker and Glenn have really looked like they've stepped up. Are they up at that sort of level in the league level?
I don't know. I mean, all I know is that they've been consistent for us all year, and we made a deliberate decision over the off-season and to make sure that we continue to put more numbers through our midfield, and we've been able to do that and add to that mix of midfielders that we've got, and we'll keep on doing it. We've added Jake Lloyd, we've had Harry Cunningham, certainly Benny McGlynn to that midfield mix this season, as well as getting Jetta back and McVeigh, who has spent a fair bit of time at half-back, coming through the midfield as well. So we need to have adaptable players that with plenty of depth that can go in any position that we need on game day.
John, could you just comment lastly on Brooks' achievement today, 341 games and what he's added since coming back?
Oh, it's a big achievement. It's a significant achievement to play the most games for an Indigenous player. It's been some champion players play this game, and to be the highest games played for the Indigenous record holder is a sensational achievement. And he just, he did what he had to do again today. He was able to kick 3 goals and do what he needs to do. He's just he's been a fantastic player for this footy club, and hopefully there's still a little bit in him yet. Thanks.